If you've ever dug into your garden and wondered why your soil behaves the way it does, why it drains well, cakes hard, stays loose, or grows crops better than the plot next to it, part of the answer lies far deeper than anything humans have done in the last few centuries. Our soils carry a memory billions of years old, shaped by violent forces that once reshaped this planet. Ancient asteroid impacts, volcanic events, and the long dance between rock and climate built the foundation beneath every garden bed today. And when we understand how these ancient processes worked, we become far better at managing the soil we have now. The story of soil begins with destruction and raw rock. To understand modern garden soil, you need to start with what existed before soil ever formed: bare rock. Ancient Earth was covered in massive crustal slabs created and destroyed by volcanic activity, tectonic collisions, and, yes, asteroid impacts. These impacts didn't simply leave craters, they shattered rock into millions of fractured surfaces. Those fractures increased the surface area exposed to wind, water, and chemical changes. When rain began dissolving minerals from these pulverized rocks, the very first sediments formed. This matters for gardeners because the type of rock that broke apart determines which minerals you inherit today. Granite-rich regions still produce soils high in potassium and micronutrients. Basaltic rock formed from volcanic flows leads to some of the most fertile soils on Earth, including the deep, dark, volcanic soils where vegetables grow exceptionally well. Even the sandiest coastal soils trace back to ancient eroded sediments created by similar breakdown processes. Your garden's base material was set in motion by events so old they feel almost mythical, but they still decide how your vegetables feed today. When a massive impact hit ancient Earth, temperatures soared high enough to melt rock instantly. That molten material cooled into new mineral structures, often richer in certain nutrients. Some of the world's most agriculturally productive regions owe their fertility to the mineral rearrangements caused by these ancient impacts. For practical gardening, this tells us something important. The nutrient balance in your soil is not random. If your soil naturally holds nutrients well or struggles to retain them, that characteristic was shaped millions of years ago. Sandy soils that drain too quickly once came from rapidly weathered quartz-rich rock. Heavy clays formed from fine mineral particles created when rocks were ground down under intense pressure. Understanding what your soil likely came from gives you clearer strategies for working with it. For example, a clay-based soil that forms sticky clods can be managed more effectively with organic matter because its mineral origins created a structure that responds well to added carbon. A sandy soil, on the other hand, benefits from heavier mulching and frequent organic amendments because its ancient mineral makeup simply cannot hold nutrients tightly without help. Once the earliest soils began forming from rock fragments, life stepped in. Ancient microbes colonized those mineral surfaces, helping break them down chemically. Plants followed. Their decayed roots and leaves mixed with the minerals from broken rock, creating the first real topsoil. This process took thousands of years just to build a thin layer. That timeline is important because soil is not a renewable resource on a human scale. If you strip it, erode it, or neglect it, it doesn't bounce back quickly. The lesson from ancient soil formation is clear. Soil must be protected, fed, and maintained consistently. The organic matter you add today builds on a system billions of years old. Winter cover crops, mulching, compost, and microbial teas don't just boost this year's harvest, they continue a natural process that would otherwise stall in a garden setting. You know, every gardener eventually learns that soil structure is just as important as soil nutrients. Whether a soil drains fast, compacts easily, or, well, remains fluffy depends on the mixture of sand, silt, and clay. And that mixture stems directly from how ancient rock was crushed, melted, eroded, or deposited. Impact events created shock waves that sorted minerals by density. Volcanoes created ash layers that later became fine silts, and rivers carved through those ancient surfaces and deposited mixed sediments across plains. So, what this means for you? A soil that struggles with compaction likely contains fine, uniform mineral particles created by slow erosion or pressure events. A soil that dries too fast contains coarser fragments that didn't break down further. These characteristics aren't flaws, they're inheritances, and once you understand them, you can work with them instead of against them. Gardeners who succeed in the long run, well, they do exactly what nature did. They combine minerals with organic matter, moisture, and microbial life to create stable, rich soil. After billions of years, soil formed because minerals and organic matter were continually mixed, broken down, rebuilt, and supported by living organisms. The takeaway here is actually quite simple. Soil thrives when it receives continual small inputs, not just the occasional big ones. A garden's soil, stays alive when you feed it. Organic matter regularly cover it in winter, encourage microbial diversity, and avoid excessive disturbance. These are really just modern expressions of ancient natural processes. The ground beneath your feet has a history longer than any plant you'll ever grow, and the best gardeners honor that by building soil rather than exploiting it. If you found this guide helpful, do make sure to subscribe and share, so more gardeners can learn the deep science behind healthy, thriving soil.